What if everything you thought you knew about yourself was about to change? In the most brutal way possible. What if you were a chosen one destined for greatness, but your awakening turned into a nightmare? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something truly intense. We're talking about the chosen ones, those heroes, the gifted, the ones who are destined for greatness. But their awakening wasn't exactly what they expected. In fact, it was brutal. Today we're breaking down the harsh realities these chosen ones faced and why it wasn't all glory and power. Trust me, this is going to be a wild ride. So let's start with the basics. A chosen one is someone who's selected for a higher purpose, usually in stories filled with epic stakes and great destiny. Whether it's a prophecy, a birthright, or a cosmic event, these characters often face immense challenges. But here's the catch. It's never easy. These individuals often go through a painful, harsh awakening before they realize their true power. Point 1. The brutal reality of the awakening, the idea of a chosen one. The person who is destined to save the world or change the course of history is one of the most compelling themes in storytelling. It's the promise of extraordinary power, of a role far greater than anything ordinary life could offer. But here's the catch. With great power doesn't just come great responsibility. It comes with an enormous burden. This awakening, as exhilarating as it might sound, is often a brutal shock to the system. The power to save the world isn't handed to you on a silver platter. It comes with twists, turns, and a price that you may not be prepared for. Take Neo from The Matrix, for example. He's told that he is the one destined to save humanity from a simulated reality controlled by machines. But the process of awakening to his true role is far from glamorous. Imagine being yanked out of your comfortable life and thrown into a world where nothing is as it seems. Neo's first real taste of his new reality is a mind-bending shock. He's confronted with the truth that everything he believed in, the very world he knew, was an illusion. He is now in a battle for survival, not just against the machines, but against the very fabric of reality itself. And this is just the beginning. Neo must come to terms with the weight of his destiny, all while trying to make sense of his own mind and body in this new world. The consequences of failure are dire. The destruction of humanity, the collapse of the simulated world, and his own inevitable demise. Neo's path is brutal. It is a constant struggle not only against external forces but against the internal conflict of whether or not he is truly ready for the responsibility of saving the world. Similarly, Harry Potter's awakening to his chosen fate is far from easy. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. He learns that he is not just a regular boy. He is the only one capable of defeating Lord Voldemort, a dark wizard who has terrorized the magical world. From the moment Harry steps into this new world, the pressure mounts. He's thrown into a whirlwind of magical battles, dark creatures, and a destiny that seems larger than life. But it's not just physical danger he faces. His emotional and mental fortitude is constantly tested. He has to grow up faster than any child should, bearing the weight of loss, sacrifice, and responsibility. His journey isn't just about defeating a villain. It's about coming to terms with the sacrifices he must make, including losing friends, facing death, and carrying the hopes of an entire world on his shoulders. Being chosen doesn't come with a free pass to victory. It comes with a brutal awakening to the fact that the world is watching you, waiting for you to succeed or stumble. The expectations are high and the path to saving the world is anything but easy. It's messy, filled with personal and external challenges that test every fiber of your being. It's a reminder that the power to change the world often comes with the hardest of lessons. Point 2. The internal struggle when we think of the chosen one archetype in fiction. We often imagine someone who is destined for greatness, overcoming impossible odds to save the world. But there's a deeper, often overlooked aspect to these stories: the mental toll. It's easy to assume that being chosen is all about heroic battles and grand victories, but the psychological challenges are just as intense, if not more so. The internal battle of fear, self-doubt, and confusion is a quiet storm that rages behind the scenes, and it's something that many of us can relate to in real life. Take Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games as a prime example. Thrust into the role of a symbol for rebellion, Katniss becomes the face of a revolution. Yet she's far from prepared for it. Her journey isn't just about fighting the Capitol or surviving the games. It's about constantly questioning her own actions and grappling with the weight of her choices. As the revolution gains momentum, Katniss finds herself torn between what is morally right, what is necessary for survival, and what her own heart tells her. Is she truly a leader, or just a pawn in a larger game? This inner conflict is something that every chosen one faces, the crippling uncertainty that comes with being thrust into a role that you didn't ask for. What makes Katniss's journey so compelling is how relatable it is. Most of us will never find ourselves in a life or death battle for the future of society, but we all face moments of self-doubt and fear. Whether it's making a big decision in our personal lives or stepping into a leadership role, there's a common thread of questioning our worth and ability to succeed. Katniss doesn't have all the answers, and her vulnerability makes her character human. She doesn't wake up one day as a perfect leader. She stumbles, she struggles, and she feels alone in her doubts. The mental toll of being the chosen one isn't about the battles fought on the outside. It's the ones waged internally. This mental struggle is something we all face in different forms. When given responsibility, especially the kind that feels larger than ourselves, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. You might start doubting whether you're up to the challenge. Should you take the lead or pass the torch? Should you fight or walk away? These questions can paralyze us much like they did Katniss. The pressure to succeed, the fear of failure, and the internal battle of wanting to do the right thing can create a storm of confusion. So the next time you look at a chosen one, remember that the real battle is not always against an external enemy. Often it's about conquering the fears, doubts, and confusion within ourselves. Like Katniss, we may never feel fully ready for what lies ahead, but it's the courage to move forward despite our fears that defines us. Point 3. The harsh sacrifices in many stories. The concept of the chosen one is often depicted as an extraordinary honor, but beneath the glory lies a brutal truth. Being chosen comes with steep sacrifices. It's easy to romanticize the idea of fulfilling a grand destiny, but these characters often face choices that no one should have to make, and sometimes they lose far more than they gain. Luke Skywalker from Star Wars is a prime example of this cruel fate. His journey begins with a dream of adventure, but it quickly spirals into a path filled with painful decisions. Luke's awakening to the reality of his family ties brings him face to face with one of the most devastating revelations in cinematic history. His father, Darth Vader, the embodiment of evil, is the very man he's been trying to destroy. This moment doesn't just shatter Luke's understanding of good and evil. It fractures his very identity. The enemy is not just an abstract force to defeat. It is his flesh and blood. This reality forces Luke to confront a series of impossible choices. Being the chosen one often involves letting go of one's personal desires and ideals for a greater good, and this is exactly what Luke does. His personal journey is one of growth, but also of deep loss. The weight of his destiny doesn't just come from physical challenges, but from the emotional turmoil of balancing his mission with the bonds he has to sacrifice along the way. At the climax of Return of the Jedi, Luke is offered a chance to kill his father, to rid the galaxy of the Sith once and for all. But instead of seizing that opportunity, Luke makes a profound choice. He chooses mercy. This act is not just a tactical decision, it's a sacrifice of his anger, his hatred, and the very idea of vengeance that would fuel a victory. He chooses to put his faith in redemption. Despite the overwhelming cost of potentially losing everything he has fought for, Luke's decision highlights the core truth about being the chosen one. It's not just about defeating the enemy or achieving victory. It's about the willingness to give up what you hold most dear. Sometimes the chosen one's greatest sacrifice is not in their actions, but in their willingness to let go of their own happiness or safety for the sake of something greater. The idea of sacrifice in the face of destiny resonates beyond Star Wars and can be seen in countless other stories where the cost of power or fame comes at the expense of personal well-being or the love of those closest to you. It's a timeless theme that reminds us that destiny is never free. It comes at a steep price, and sometimes that price is everything. Point 4. How the brutal awakening shapes them after an intense awakening. When everything seems to collapse around a hero, what happens next? Do they emerge stronger, or do they crumble under the weight of their newfound reality? The truth is, these pivotal moments of awakening, often brutal and jarring, shape the chosen ones in ways we may not initially understand. Their struggles, losses, and sacrifices are not just obstacles, but the very things that define their strength, molding them into the heroes we come to admire. Take Luke Skywalker, for example. At the beginning of Star Wars, Luke is a naive farm boy with little understanding of the galaxy's complexities. When he discovers that his mentor Obi-Wan Kenobi is dead, and his father is Darth Vader, everything he knew about his identity and the world around him is shattered. The brutal truth hits hard, but instead of folding under the pressure, Luke rises. He learns, adapts, and ultimately becomes a beacon of hope against overwhelming odds. Without the loss, the discovery, and the pain, there's no Luke Skywalker as we know him. Harry Potter's journey follows a similar arc. His awakening begins with the shocking revelation that he is a wizard, but it doesn't end there. Over the course of the series, Harry faces unimaginable loss, the death of his parents, the loss of mentors like Dumbledore, and countless battles that test his limits. These struggles don't break him. They sharpen him. With every setback, Harry becomes more resourceful, more resilient, until he faces Voldemort not as a scared boy, but as a powerful young man capable of defeating dark forces. Neo's awakening in the Matrix takes place in a world of total illusion. When he's told the truth about the Matrix, his entire reality is upended. He's thrown into a conflict where he's not prepared for the power he's told he possesses. Yet, rather than succumbing to doubt, Neo becomes stronger, learning to bend the rules of reality itself. His true strength is revealed only after he embraces the harsh truths and begins his transformation from a mere man to the One. The struggle to comprehend his purpose and identity is, paradoxically, what makes him capable of greatness. And then there's Katniss Everdeen, whose brutal awakening occurs in the heart of the Hunger Games arena. She enters a world where survival is the only goal, and the emotional and physical toll is immense. From losing her sister to the constant manipulation by the Capitol, Katniss is forced to adapt and grow in ways she never expected. The sacrifice of her innocence and trust builds her into a symbol of resistance, not because she avoids pain, but because she faces it head-on and chooses to fight for something greater. These characters' journeys teach us an essential truth. The road to greatness is not a straight line. It is fraught with challenges that force the individual to adapt, overcome, and often sacrifice. It's through their struggle that they find their true strength. Luke, Harry, Neo, Katniss, each of them demonstrates that it's not the absence of suffering that defines a hero, but the ability to rise from it, stronger and more determined. The brutal awakenings they face do not break them. They build them into legends. The pressure of expectations, the weight of expectations, is one of the most fascinating and intense aspects of being the Chosen One. In stories, the Chosen One is often seen as the hero, the savior, the person who holds the key to the world's future. But while the idea of destiny may sound alluring, it's not all glory. The pressure of everyone around you believing you have all the answers, it's overwhelming. Take Frodo Baggins from The Lord of the Rings, for instance. Frodo didn't choose to be the bearer of the One Ring. He didn't wake up one morning and think, today, I'll save Middle-earth. Instead, he was thrust into this monumental role. Yet, once the ring was in his possession, it wasn't just the fate of his friends at stake. The entire future of Middle-earth rested in his hands. That's a lot of weight for anyone, especially a humble hobbit who'd much rather stay in the Shire with his pipe in his garden. The expectations Frodo faced weren't just from the usual sources like Sauron or the ring itself. They came from every corner of the world around him, from Gandalf, who saw him as the only one capable of completing the mission, to Aragorn, who silently believed Frodo could endure the impossible. Even his own friends like Sam had a deep faith in his ability to carry out this impossible task. The pressure of everyone's belief in him only made the journey more daunting. No one truly understood the burden he carried, not even Frodo himself. This is the essence of being the Chosen One. It's not just about stepping up to fulfill a destiny. It's about the constant weight of expectations pushing you further than you ever thought possible. Frodo was constantly questioned. Could he do it? Would he fail? His every step was doubted along the way. He was pushed beyond his physical and emotional limits. The journey was exhausting not just because of the physical dangers, but because of the mental strain that came from being the one person in the world with the power to change everything. This is the core of why the pressure is so crushing for every Chosen One. They're expected to perform without fail, to succeed where others might falter. But with each passing moment, each challenge faced, the weight grows heavier. The mental toll is often just as destructive as the physical toll, and it can leave the hero broken, questioning their worth or ability to fulfill the mission they never asked for. In essence, being the chosen one isn't about simply carrying a special gift or power. It's about carrying the weight of the world, literally on your shoulders. It's about living under constant pressure, questioning your every move, and trying to live up to the impossible expectations of everyone around you. Frodo's journey teaches us that even heroes can be drained by the relentless weight of expectations, and sometimes that pressure can break even the strongest of wills. Point 6. The betrayal of trust. Betrayal is often a defining moment for the chosen one in many epic tales. It's not just about fighting external enemies. Sometimes the harshest battles are fought within their closest circle. This emotional wound can shape the character's path and even change their entire perspective on trust, loyalty. When a chosen one's journey reaches its most critical point, betrayal by those they believed in can feel like a devastating double blow. It's like being stabbed in the back, both literally and metaphorically. Take Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, for instance. Jon's journey is one of the most poignant examples of betrayal. As a member of the Night's Watch, Jon fought alongside his brothers, sharing bonds of brotherhood and trust. But when Jon begins to embrace his true role in the fight against the Night King, some of these very brothers, those he considered family, turn against him. They betray him in the most shocking and brutal way, by stabbing him in the back, literally. This betrayal is not just a physical injury. It's an emotional and psychological wound that runs deep. The men who stab him, his trusted comrades, are the very ones Jon fought beside for years. They were the people he confided in and risked his life for. But when the stakes are raised and Jon's leadership challenges their own positions or beliefs, they choose to eliminate him rather than allow him to fulfill his destiny. This moment of betrayal is pivotal because it forces Jon to confront a harsh truth. Sometimes those you trust the most are the ones who can hurt you the most. For a chosen one, betrayal is often the hardest lesson to learn. It's not just about overcoming external threats. It's about learning to navigate the complexities of human relationships. Trust once broken is never easily repaired. This creates a powerful internal conflict. Jon's betrayal by the Night's Watch forces him to ask, who can he trust? And what does it mean to truly lead if you can't rely on those around you? Betrayal is also a powerful narrative tool because it exposes the vulnerabilities of the hero. The chosen one is often portrayed as strong, determined, and capable, but betrayal strips them down, revealing their weaknesses and fears. It's this vulnerability that makes the journey all the more compelling. The audience sees the hero not as a perfect figure, but as someone who, like everyone else, is prone to pain and heartache. In the end, Jon Snow's betrayal becomes a catalyst for growth. It strengthens his resolve, deepens his understanding of leadership, and pushes him to rise above the darkness within his ranks. Betrayal may hurt, but it also has the potential to forge a stronger, more resilient hero. And that is the essence of the chosen one's journey. Learning, growing, and overcoming the forces both outside and within. Point 7. The endurance of the chosen one's journey. When we think of the chosen one archetype, it's easy to imagine a character who wakes up with extraordinary powers and is destined to save the world. But there's a hidden truth beneath the surface. The journey of a chosen one is a test of endurance, not just strength. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And this endurance is what truly defines the hero's journey. Take Aang from Avatar, The Last Airbender, for example. Aang's destiny is to end a devastating war, but his journey is anything but simple. At just 12 years old, he discovers that he is the Avatar, the one person capable of mastering all four elements: water, earth, fire, and air. But instead of basking in the glory of his newfound role, Aang finds himself hunted by powerful enemies like Fire Lord Ozai and his relentless army. The pressure is immense. He doesn't just need to learn the elements. He must do so while constantly evading capture, processing the trauma of his past, and dealing with the weight of expectation. The endurance required for Aang's journey isn't limited to his ability to fight or perform powerful bending moves. It's about his ability to endure emotionally and mentally. Every loss, whether it's a failed battle, a broken friendship, or the crushing knowledge that he's been absent for 100 years, adds to the burden he carries. Yet, despite all the setbacks, Aang pushes forward. He doesn't give up on himself or his mission, even when it feels like the world is against him. This speaks to a central truth about the chosen one. Their greatest challenge is not facing the external forces, but enduring the internal struggle. The emotional toll of destiny is something we can all relate to. Aang's endurance isn't just about survival. It's about growth. He faces failure, heartbreak, and difficult decisions. But through it all, he learns, adapts, and evolves. His journey shows us that being the chosen one isn't about perfection. It's about resilience. It's not about how quickly you can reach the finish line, but how long you can carry the weight of your responsibility without breaking. It's about rising after every fall, continuing the fight even when hope seems distant. This aspect of the chosen one journey mirrors the challenges we face in real life. Whether it's personal struggles, career setbacks, or the weight of long-term goals, most of us face challenges that test our endurance. These aren't one-time battles. They are continuous, ongoing tests of how long we can persevere. In the end, the true measure of success isn't how fast you accomplish your goals, but how long you can endure the journey itself, learning and growing along the way. As we've seen today, the journey of the chosen ones is full of harsh awakenings, endless pressure, and difficult choices. But it's in overcoming these trials that we find our true strength. Just like them, we all face moments that test us, shape us, and push us to grow. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Which chosen one do you think endured the most? I'll see you next time, ready for another deep dive.